More than 4.5 million people had their personal information hacked on Snapchat. But what's disturbing is the company was warned about possible flaws in its system. Why did the company dismiss these warnings? Let's have a look.
Are you a Snapchat user? Because your username and information may have been visible on the internet. The photo app lets people control how long your friends can view your message. Within 10 seconds, it can disappear forever. But this week, what didn't disappear are personal information to millions of Snapchat users. An anonymous hacker uploaded 4.6 million usernames and phone numbers to the web. The information was even available for download. The data was posted to the website snapchatdb.info. By late Wednesday morning, that website had been suspended. The hackers even released a statement on a blog called TechCrunch stating that our motivation behind the release was to raise the public awareness around the issue and also put public pressure on Snapchat to get this exploit fixed. It is understandable that tech startups have limited resources, but security and privacy should not be a secondary goal. Security matters as much as user experience does. But the hackers do have a point. If you don't think a service needs your phone number, don't give it to them.
And to talk more about this latest breach of security, Didi Benke and Dr. Lopez continue the discussions along with Dr. Bart Rossi. Well, we were talking just at that break there, and we were talking about the 4.5 million users. Most of these are 25 and younger, 18 to 25. They said that Snapchat lost the trust of not only the users, but there's now 5 million very angry parents. So this company has lost a lot of trust. Dr. Bart, when you lose the trust of customers like this, put on your PR hat, what does the company do from here?
Well, the company has to somehow make it look like this is a secure setup. And I don't know if that's a possible task. It might be impossible, because my view as a psychologist is a little paranoia sometimes is good. And I think that also to be obsessive compulsive sometimes is not a bad thing. And today in the internet age, we need to be a little bit paranoid. We really need to take a look at what we do, because I think people are going to find out whatever we text and whatever we send. So I think it's going to be really, really tough.
Well, just like Edward Snowden launched a worldwide conversation, this is also launching a big conversation because Gibson Security from Australia had pointed out the security issues. That was something like 4 or 5 months ago, and they did nothing. How liable should Snapchat be? And Didi will let you take that.
See, here's the thing. I really believe in having your everything secured, and when it comes to the target situation, when it comes to your email, and when it comes to your personal finances. But this is social media. It's a little different, so I'm guessing, than whenever you read throughout, like with Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Just realize it's going to be out there. I mean, it's social media. That's the whole point. So just get over it. I mean, with social media, that's different than when it's your personal checking account or something like that. Just know it's going to happen. You don't have to be paranoid. You just believe it. It's just going to.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Just hope for the best and expect the worst.
Now, the company may lose something like $4 billion, I was reading, but should they be fined for doing nothing? I mean, I think that's the point that I also want to, I understand your point about social. But they have the points on
me is what I'm asking, because usually they have, in the fine print, they're like, hey, if it gets out there, it's going to get out there. I'm thinking I don't know if it does or not, but I'm guessing there's something there. There's some provision. I'm sure the company's going to say, hey, we let them know. They just didn't read the fine print.
And Dr. Lopez, I know you obviously know a lot about these tech companies and how they work, the inner workings, if you will. Is there any way, and I do want to talk about some of the do's and don'ts of safety, online safety, but is there any way that people can protect themselves?
Well, Snapchat, I mean, I'm not sure about legal liability or anything from there. I'm not a lawyer, but definitely this is a software company, a tech company that prides itself on the fact that you can be paranoid. It's good you're paranoid, because you put up this picture with your quotes or your little movie there, and then 10 seconds later, it's erased. Mm-hmm. It's completely erased off the servers. It doesn't exist anymore. There is no fingerprint on it on the internet.
Is it really erased there?
There's a caveat somewhere on a piece of, there's a caveat somewhere saying, oh, well, not really.
Well, and they say that this was a particular service that was used maybe between boyfriend, girlfriends, that you can send a picture, and 15 seconds, like you said, it disappears. But does it really disappear?
It should disappear, yes. It's. I mean, I'm sure that's in the legal print. I'm sure that's in the. Well, I mean, I from what I've seen, it's very hard to download it, so it's on their servers and it's erased after it's viewed 10 seconds later after it's viewed. So I think I think this company is a company that prides itself on the fact that we're not like Twitter and Facebook, where it's there for all eternity, effectively. This is gone after that, and the fact that they're not protecting that, I mean,
since that was their big selling point, that's
Yeah,
kind
but
of a selling point.
how is it actually believable that this is going to go away? In this day and age, you know, you just talk about Snowden, you talk about everybody else. How is it even
Less than 10
believable?
seconds, you know somebody's going to catch it. In 10 seconds,
But
somebody's
believe it
gonna
or
catch
not, last year the service was sharing 150 million photos in a day.
Wow.
It's bigger than Instagram, so I mean it's a huge.
It's mostly has about 40 million users, and it's mostly American based, about 80%.
Yes.
So I mean, that is a problem we have, and Dr. Rossi's talked about this many times within our youth. I mean, they overshare, in my opinion.
Right. They do, and I think that there's a message here. The message is clear that we ought to take a look at our behavior, and kids don't get that sometimes, and parents, some parents are a little bit older and they don't really get this electronic age, but there's a message here, and it really is that we have to look at our own behavior. Just as Dee Dee said, it's going to come out, it's going to happen.
And I think it's just a sign of the times, don't you? I mean, I don't think you can help it. I think it's here to stay.
But in terms of the hacking, I mean, like, it just seems like everything's getting hacked. Dee Dee, you had your information from Target. Dr. Bart, you had something. What was that again?
Well, they took the numbers off my credit card, my American Express card. They must have made another card, actually.
And I just had something happen with my insurance. So we've all had something happen in the last month or so. How do they go and get your information like that? I mean, how easy is this now?
I mean, it's not easy. That's the thing. But in this case, I mean, this was very blatantly obvious. The Snapshot had actually hired a firm to look at their security, and then this firm said, "This is your vulnerability," and they did nothing about it. And then of course these hackers, which in this case were benevolent hackers, they were trying to point out this is where you have vulnerability, went there and did something about it. But I mean, it's extremely hard to do that unless, I mean, this was actually publicized, put out there.
Well,
so it was an easy target.
A $4 billion slap on the wrist, so it's
Yeah.
nothing that's going to cost the company tremendously. Let's talk about online safety, Dr. Lopez, since you're kind of a little expert here. Staying safe online, should iCloud be trusted?
For what? I mean, they've got everything we got, right?
I mean, look, cloud computing is the thing now. I mean, it's all about sharing. We have peer-to-peer networks. I mean, this is where it's moving forward. The answer is yes, I think you should, but you have to be a little paranoid on certain things that you put out there, because these servers are all over the world. They're up in Norway. They're up in all over the world. Who knows what can happen to that information out there? It's not on your personal hard drive. That's the difference.
It's in the cloud somewhere.
It's in the cloud.
It's in the cloud.
When I first heard about the iCloud, I was like, the what? All right, don't use personal information. Is this true or false? I've also read that you should now start creating fake information. Yes or no?
I think everybody's been doing that for a long time. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody who has a Gmail account is not putting everything out. The 10 people that have the 10 different Gmail
Carlos Danger.
accounts, Carlos Danger. So I'm pretty
You can
sure.
really be anybody online now at this point.
It depends on what it is. I mean, obviously, if it's financial information and different things, there, of course, you have to share your information so we know it's legitimate stuff. But if it's something on social media, you know, okay, I mean, it's understandable.
Well, it used to be that you should never put like your social security online, but now so many places ask for it. But I was actually reading that if they ask for your mother's maiden name, for instance, like for a credit card, that you shouldn't put that down, that you should actually change that sometimes. Again,
well, I think a lot of these services pop up different questions every few months. Your key question to verify that it is you, if you're on different computers, if you're working off something that is not known. What these companies do, what these websites do, let's say the Chases or the Amazons or different companies that you might work with, whether you're purchasing or doing your banking, is that they'll download the number of your computer, basically the name of your computer, and have that in their servers, and they'll know that if you're logging in, that's the computer.
well, that just even seems kind of scary to me.
Well, look, if you have an iPad, I mean, Dee Dee has hers right now. I mean, the Apple can figure out where she is.
Where I am. Apple knows where I am. Hello.
So I mean, and whether you have a smartphone, they know where you are every single time. So
But there
I
is
mean,
that privacy setting. I mean, because you can leave it on there where literally it will pop up where you, and I think this is back for single women especially, it'll pop up where you live. A map will pop up. You got to watch that
Yeah.
because there's a privacy setting. I think you need I turn mine off. Now I know Apple can still find me, but others can't, thankfully, by just logging in.
That's an interesting point too, Dee Dee. Changing passwords each month. Yeah, good idea?
Good idea. I mean, passwords are kind of the key to get into everything. So that's a good idea to change your password once in a while, or I don't know about every month, but at most services, every 6 months to 1 year, they ask you to change over. So that's a well-known security.
Okay, and we were talking about the accounts. I was also reading, and again, you're the expert, so you're going to tell me if this is right or wrong. Should you link online accounts?
Probably not,
Okay.
but it's very hard not to do that these days, especially with Google Plus and all these different services that are offered. So it's if you have the ability to multitask and keep all your accounts, remember all those passwords together, then do it. But I mean, I can't do it personally, so I trust Google and different services I use to kind of interconnect all my different accounts.
Well, since it is the first week of 2014, are there any other tips that you would like to offer the viewers?
Not really. I mean, it's a bold new world out there. I mean, with the previous segment we were talking about Snowden, and I think a conversation has been started about the impact of this information technology on our personal lives, on our daily lives. I mean, questions of how much do you give up as far as your personal freedom, your liberty, and still maintain your happiness in a sense. Those are the questions moving forward. And I think in 2014 we're going to be discussing.
But what's interesting, Dr. Bart, to me is like some of the kids that are like under 18 years old will never have really understood what it meant to be completely private.
That's true. You know, there's a word in Hudson County politics. It's called tapers. People who tape basically everybody, and they get the political info, okay? Well, we really have to take a look at that, because I really think it's good to be paranoid and think about the fact that what you're saying is going to be effectively taped or listened to at least. So I think that's where we're going with this, and I think that's the big message.
Dee Dee, last thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a sign of the times. Get used to it. Those days are over. I think we just have to realize that almost everything's going to be out there, especially with social media.
All right. Well, social media brings a lot of great things and sometimes not so great things. Thank you so much for your insights, everyone. And we have much more for you here on Fresh Outlook, including a look at New York City's new mayor. Well, you know that famous Frank Sinatra line, "I did it my way"? Well, whether you like him or not, Bill de Blasio is already proving he is doing it his way.